I was once an ambassador for a charity whose sole purpose was going into communities to help promote activities, not just sports, but anything to get kids from kind of socially deprived areas more active. As an ambassador for the charity, when I had to address a sports hall full of children once, I felt very self-conscious about the fact that I was probably much more middle class than anyone else in the room. And I think I had that middle class guilt that was trying to force me to say something that would make me more relatable to the children in the room. And I made the horrendous decision to say, I've actually had a really hard life too. I was raised by wolves. To nothing, just absolutely nothing. And I think about that constantly. Welcome to another episode of Stop Watering Dead Flowers with me, Chris Forbes. Stop watering dead flowers. And I'm delighted to say this week's guest is the wonderful Gavin Mitchell. Thank you for being here, Gav.
Not at all, sweet cheeks. That's funny. I was raised by wolves as well. They call me Gavin.
As a way of introduction, a man that doesn't really need one, I suppose, but obviously star of Still Game. But long before that, just a wonderfully talented actor. I feel like you're someone that would really fit the term when people just say, like a natural raconteur. I feel like you're one of these people.
About to find out,
you know, but
the shortest podcast ever.
we just were talking just before we started recording that a couple of times I had the honour of standing in for, I think it was Bill Dewar, of hosting the Still Game cast.
Yeah,
kind of chance.
Brilliant, actually.
But you were always great at just getting up and telling stories from Still Game, stories from your past, impressions, and it just felt like, were you always quite a natural entertainer, do you think?
I don't know. I think it was a lot of things. I think fear I think was my main motivator. I think it was the way I was brought up. We moved around a lot, my family, so we were all over the place in lots of different schools, and I come from that generation of being plonked in front of the telly. And my father was a projectionist, film projectionist.
Oh, no way.
So I was just brought up with those kind of things, and so it was a kind of defence mechanism, the old classic cliche to stop getting kickings, which didn't fucking work. You know, but you try. But there's only so many times that you can say, Betty.
Oh, I should say before we go any further that you also have your dog here with us as well, which is a real treat for anyone that might end up watching this on YouTube. Do you want to introduce your wonderful dog?
No. Because it might come up later.
Oh, okay.
So no, he's not here. That will be CGI'd out and it'll be turned into a cat.
You'll be Henry Cavill's moustache.
Hold on, a horse will just cover him up. There we are. Do you think you could ride that, Bob? No, sorry. Sorry, he's actually quite an asexual wee guy. Sadly, but I shouldn't really go into this. But sadly, Bob is the one that gets pumped, isn't you, Bob?
Oh,
it's strange.
Bob.
You put by male and female. It's strange. I know. Don't look at me like that. No, he's
and you
the
were
one.
saying that
If only he
seagulls
could
are
speak.
fond of him, actually.
Kinda the one who's got traumas to talk about,
Oh.
haven't you, pal? Yeah, because we looked into it. Apparently, when they've had the snip, their scent can change,
Oh,
so
really?
they can smell like a female. So, but I mean, who can blame them? He's a very attractive dog.
He's a
Takes
good-looking
after his
boy.
da, you know? You and me both, Bob. Oh yeah, baby.
Well, to get back on track with the podcast as well, before we even delve into the first few stories, how are you in general? I like to ask the guests when something has happened that's kind of embarrassed you, or you've felt a bit of regret about it. Are you someone that is quite good at letting it go, or do you let them fester?
I'm terrible. I'm somebody. I'm really, really bad. I've got better. I seem to have turned a wee corner just in the past couple of years. I think it's just because I'm looking into the maw of death, and I've just got to make peace and let it go. And first big name drop of the day. I think I met Billy Connolly fairly recently and was talking to him about stuff. Beautiful. And I was so kind of nervous that I turned around at one point. I live not far from here. And I was talking about neighbours.
Right.
And I said, when I first moved in to the place I'm in. I went to pay my money. We've got a shared garden. And one of the neighbours went, "Oh, what number are you in?" and stuff. And she starts telling me about the neighbourhood. And she said, the woman next door, her man's just left her. Better off without him. Bit of a bastard. And then over here, they've just got a puppy. A wee golden retriever. Although why you'd have a puppy in a first floor flat, God only knows. And then just down here, he's a surgeon. Very clever. And then beneath him, there's a boy who plays keyboards in Simple Minds. He's in Europe a lot.
Wow.
And then my favourite was, she said, and then there's a girl in the basement just along there, very clever, very, very clever, reads a lot of books.
Constantly undercutting everything.
Don't know what kind of books, could have been Mills and Boone Anthony. And then as she's saying this, the guy who's left his wife walks out and goes, "Hi, Barbara." Like that, right? Waste it. And she went, "Oh, hello, Patrick." That's him. And I thought, Jesus, what's she going to say about me?
Yeah, I'm trying to picture what her thing would be for
Billy
you.
was brilliant. Billy sort of went, "You've just got to let this go. You've got to let it wash. You forget that. You just let it wash over. You can't hold on to these things like that." And he was like Buddha or something. He was just, you could see he's at peace with himself. And I thought, he's kind of right,
Yeah.
So I have, but before that, I was terrible at festering, worrying, sleepless nights, tiniest wee things soaking up like a sponge,
I think
paranoia, putting two and two together, making five. I'm just, I
think that's where I still am. So that's why I'm doing this. It's almost like I'm learning from other people's stories that they've been able to let them go a bit more, whereas I feel like I'm holding on to loads.
A bubble of neurosis.
Can I just say as well, just as an aside, when we first moved into our house, where we are now in our wee village, we didn't know anybody there. And I was out cutting the grass in the front garden for the first time, and the house hadn't been lived in for a good couple of months. It was a forest. And the neighbour opposite us came over the road to speak to me, and he was like, "How you doing? Welcome to the street." And I was like, "Thanks very much." And he went, "What are you doing there? Tackling the garden?" I says, "Yeah, it looks like maybe they've been out of the house. I don't know what happened, if the couple separated or something, and they just moved away quite quickly." And he went, "Oh, no, the guy killed himself." Which was something that we did not know about. And I was like, "All right." And he's like, yeah, killed himself.
His grass cut.
he was like, "So they've not been there for a while." And then just because you reminded me, because then he went down the whole street and went, "The guy next door, actually, he died as well. He died about 5 years ago. He was in a terrible explosion, actually. The guy actually on your other side, he went down to Wales for a heart transplant, but he didn't come back. It didn't work out, so he died as well." And I was like, "Where have we moved here? Just the Valley of Death?" So it was terrifying, but there's always like one busybody neighbour that knows everyone's business.
I'm going to open a gardening business.
But what a terrible revelation.
Jinx.
But anyway, yes, let's maybe pinpoint down one then. Your first one from childhood, a good place to start, as you observed, kind of quite Freudian of us to start with a childhood memory.
Even got me in a couch. Hello. If you just put your clothes in a pile next to mine. Yeah, childhood. Well, there's so many things. I mean, I had quite a mad sort of childhood. It was all kind of crazy. My mum and dad were always fighting and splitting up. My granny kind of broke us up. And, brought me up, really. And my mum eventually went to the shop one day and never came back.
Oh, really?
So my brother brought me up. Really. So it was kind of sort of mental life. So, but I thought, that's a bit heavy stuff to go in.
No. How much older was your brother?
He's 10 years older than me.
Right, aye, but still a big
So, it was a big deal at the time, because all sorts of stuff that went on that was insane. My mum and dad, they eventually split up, but my mum was like, when she disappeared, she hadn't been paying the rent, had been doing it in other people's money, and suddenly they were taking their house off us and all kinds of stuff. So it was pretty heavy times, and we had to fight to stay together in those days. Yeah. The idea of two boys staying together was like, no, you had to go through children's panels and courts. And,
oh, man.
But anyway, I didn't make good doing that road. This is what he's got me already. On a lighter note, let me take you all the way back to the 60s, kids. And I was still at primary school. And I used to be I went to many primary schools, but my first ever primary was in the beautiful small fishing town of Springburn in Glasgow. And when I was up there, I was terrible at dilly-dallying. when I came home for lunch, my granny would be waiting on me. And she used to love, she'd make me spaghetti out of a tin, and then she would just sit and watch me eating it, because I'd just be like, soaking it in and it going all over my face and all that. And this just really entertained her. But because I dilly-dallied, I was always late. And by the time I got there, I almost was sent straight back to school again. And she'd be, what kept you the day? You know, and I just told terrible lies. And there was only a wee grassy hill on the way home that I used to climb up, but I made up all sorts of stuff walking along this hill. Took me for ages, just a few bushes, but in my mind it was another world. It was fantastic, you know. And I'd come home and say, oh, you know, well, I was like, the witch was there today. Or I remember I told her one day, I'm sorry, but I was just walking along and this kangaroo jumped out with like boxing gloves and it just started to punch me. And she was, is that right? And like, you know, and that's why I'm late. You know, like, okay, come on.
I bet she loved it as well.
Eat your spaghetti. So I came down one day and she's like, you're late again. And and started telling some kind of nonsense why I was late. And she said, well, you've just missed the Beatles. Like, what? And because my big brother was 10 years older than me, and he had the biggest house in the room, and he played, in those days you could have all sorts of jobs and change your job, so he had lots of disposable income and albums and all sorts. So he used to take me in the room and play all this amazing music and all that. So I'd been into music since I was really young and loved the Beatles and stuff. And it was like, yep, my brother came out like, yeah, Gav, you've just missed the Beatles. They were here. And Gran made them soup and sandwiches, and they waited and they waited and they waited. Ringo was asking for you. He was like, where's Gav? And I said, don't know he's coming, but because you're dilly-dallying, they had to go. You've just missed them. They all went in a big white Rolls Royce and off they went. And I was just shattered. I was utterly devastated. But I went back to school and told everybody that the Beatles had been in my house. And I honestly believe, I never questioned it, because why would my granny and my brother lie to me? People you love and trust and stuff. So I don't know when I started to question that lie, but I honestly, for years, I don't know, at some point the penny dropped. But I was pretty old when I suddenly thought, you know, I went to tell the story to somebody and I was going, you know, the Beatles.
You caught yourself.
Oh, wait a minute, actually. No, hold on. The Beatles couldn't have been in your house. Get a grip yourself.
But as a young guy, and your brother's the cool older guy.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm just a wee kid.
You'd believe it.
And I was just kicking about, you know. I had a fantastic fashion sense.
I mean, when you told other kids at school, you know, they'd have been young enough, maybe, were they? Like, oh, no way. Like,
I don't think they were that bothered. I think they were so young, because I was wee, and I was a bit of an odd kid. You know, I remember falling in love with my school teacher, but I would do things like take Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Tarkus album when you're in primary school, like that, hoping that a teacher would like me. Like, hold on, you're just coming up for 6. She's not going to get off with you. But, you know, stuff like that. And also, I remember we did Halloween one year, and it was, you know, people are dressing up as all sorts of things. But my brother had a kilt that he'd obviously got as for a wedding or something. And I said, oh, I'll wear that. And I liked it so much that I just went to school in a kilt, wellies, a duffel coat, and a balaclava for a while, thinking I was the bee's knees. Like, hi there, all right, ladies.
Oh, man, what a maverick.
It was great. Apart from I nearly get run down all the time, because when I went to cross the road, the balaclava was so big I'd turn around. I was like an owl. My face just disappeared into the balaclava. So what's coming? Oh. So yeah, so I kind of regret. I mean, it's filled with regret, that story. I suppose I regret that I worried my granny and that I used to dilly dally so much and stuff. But on the other hand, I also kind of regret that they lied to me and embarrassed me. That I actually did believe for many years that the Beatles were in my house for lunch.
Well, do you know, there was a part of me that thought, I was starting to get concerned that, oh, maybe his regret is that he didn't get back in time to see the Beatles, and that he still believed it. I really regret that I missed them that day.
So I've not had a chance to apologise to Ringo. And how was the soup? So yeah.
When do you think your brother kind of held that held that for a while, like knowing that he told you this lie? Did you ever talk about it then eventually with him?
We never ever did. It went that long. It's one of these things that I was so young, it faded.
Yeah.
And then it would come back, and you think, you know, and you questioned it a few times, did that happen? I thought, no, it really did. And then you're embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
And then when we shall never speak of this. So my brother and I actually never ever spoke of it. You know, and I don't know if he'd even remember. I just think it must have been quite a daft, spontaneous thing for them. And I don't think they would have realised what it meant to me, that this was a huge thing. And I did really, really believe it. You know, because in those days, the Beatles in the back of Weetabix and things like that. You cut things out and made the band stand up in cardboard and all. So, and I heard them all the time. They were such a huge part of your life. So,
I bet it worked as well. I bet the next day you were like, Mick Jagger here? Or what was
Hello, Peru. I running home to see the Stones. I was a complete sucker about it.
Oh, well, that's a blinder. But as I always say on this, I feel like these moments from your childhood are the most forgivable and the most that you should be able to let go because you're just a wee kid. Whereas when you get a bit older, things start to get really, really tricky, don't they?
Yeah, well.
Where would you like to go for your next one? Something from your career or something from a relationship? Will we go career?
Career? God, where do you start? God, starting the career. Well, I thought about it. There's loads of different ones. There's been a couple of quite nice one. There was two I was thinking. One was the nice one that I'll always regret. Again, this sounds like... but I'll always regret... I knew Robin Williams quite well. And Robin invited me up to Billy Connolly's for his Highland Games.
Oh,
and I said no.
Oh, wow.
I'll always regret that.
What was the context? Paint a picture of this, because even you've just said so many things in that one sentence that people will be like, that's amazing.
Especially Highland Games.
Yeah. So how did the Robin Williams connection come about?
I did a movie about 1994, Jesus, nearly 30 years ago. Paul Riley was in it as well. It plays Winston in Still Game. And we were glorified extras, really.
Right.
And it was kind of Bobby Carlyle got us together, was put in charge of getting these group actors again. They wanted actors because they might have to improvise with Robin Williams. So we had to speak in this kind of mixture of Irish and Scottish Gaelic. And we kind of met on that. We were up in Lochainver for about a fortnight.
Oh, nice.
And we just kind of clicked. We got on really, really well. And the boys were kind of punting me quite a bit, and so I do this, do that, do impersonations, do blah blah blah, and then Robin would come over sometimes, and he'd do Keith Richards or something, and I would do Mick Jagger and things like that. And then he taught me how to do Gregory Peck, and I kind of taught him how to do Sean Connery, and he taught me how to do Mr. Rogers.
Oh, wow!
Look who's in my neighbourhood today. And I taught him how to do Rolf Harris.
Not quite a fair trade there.
So mental. And then I went back up to visit him there, and he gave us all his address and wee cards and get in touch if you're ever over and all this kind of thing, and sent us lovely leather-bound scripts with names embossed in gold leaf and things. And years later I did a show called Taking Over the Asylum with David Tennant and Ken Stott and stuff. And I remember it turned out Ken had been in the film, because the film travels through time from sort of cavemen right to modern day LA, through I think it's like Venetian, Roman and stuff. And Ken was like, oh, yeah. And for some reason, Ken never really took to him, which was bizarre. But I was like, what a lovely guy, and how funny, and he's just everything you expect and more. He's so sensitive and generous and brilliant and blah, blah, blah. I said, wasn't the book lovely? Wasn't that a lovely gesture?
Oh.
No, every fucker got a book. So it was through that, and then in America, I thought, well, first time ever in the States, and I thought, well, I'll try it. Nothing ventured. So got in touch with him, and I blew him out 5 times. And eventually we got it together, and I went to see him and went to his house, and I visited him a couple of times in San Fran. And then he'd come to Scotland, and it's from that as well. That's partly why Mrs. Doubtfire became Scottish, was through us, because I'm being over here. And also in Mrs. Doubtfire, he does a bit of Connery as well,
of course, no way.
But so when he was over here, invited me to Billy's. Listen to me, to Billy's. Sir Bill. And but I just thought, no, I can't. Because I knew it was like Steve Martin and Eric Idle and all these amazing big stars all up at Billy Connolly's having this whaley of time and all that. And I thought, I don't belong there. I don't.
Oh, man. So it was like kind of classic imposter syndrome type of...
What am I going to do? What's your favourite thing out of Greg's, Eric? You know what I mean? Have you ever had a yum-yum, Steve? Oh, right. Okay, well, nice talking to you. Fuck.
Oh. Did you know anyone else that was going that then was like, made it worse by kind of going, oh, you should have come, it was great?
No, I didn't actually.
If anything, that's better.
Yeah, aye.
Oh, what a shame.
So yeah, I've always regretted that. There's been a few like that, big names, and for some reason I've not made it, or I've stuck to my guns about something, and so I've not went along. I mean, a good example of that actually was one that lots of people were there and I wasn't.
Right.
It was at the Citizens years ago. Sean Connery came and he just won his Oscar.
Oh.
And I used to do Connery before. Everybody was doing Connery, but not a lot of people, because people forget Connery was in the wilderness for a while as well. And he came back with the Untouchables. And there was all these rumours that he was going to come to the sets, but it all depended if he get knocked out of a golf competition. Right? And he phoned the stage door, and it was one of my best mates on stage door, and he answered the phone and got Connery, and he was just ready to tell him where to go when the penny dropped. It was like, oh fuck, it really is Sean Connery. Wow. So, but he didn't turn up, so everybody thought, oh well, it's dead in the water. And the girl I lived with was going out. We lived in London, right? And it was her birthday, so I went down for her birthday. Just got to her door, and her phone went, said it's for you, and it was the sets going, Gav, Sean Connery's coming tomorrow. And I'm like, no. And this was terrible. I spent our whole birthday walking about, people going, do you think it's really bad if I go back up the road tomorrow? And bless them, everybody went, no, it's Sean Connery, go back up the road. But I woke up with flu. And that was that. And the next day was just getting all these messages for people going, oh my God, he was amazing. He's built that brick shit house. He doesn't disappoint. He's fantastic. He gave all his time. He appeared with a page 3 model in a Magnum of champagne. And right, yeah. And I came back and I went to the sets and somebody said, he left something for you. Oh, did he, man? Right. And I'm expecting an autograph, and there's this sealed envelope. Apparently, so many people said to him, there's a guy who'd have loved to have been here tonight. And he said, yeah, Shav, I've heard enough. Give me a piece of paper. So I went really fast, envelope, give him that. And I opened it up and it just says, my dearest Gavin, if I ever hear any more of you impersonating me, you'll be hearing from my lawyers. Best wishes, Sean Connery. And I was like, oh wow, that's really funny. And some people went, I don't know if it fucking is actually. You know, he's quite well known for being litigious. So yeah.
That's amazing though. What a great thing to have.
But so I digress massively. Sorry, this could take forever.
Please.
The one that I decided, which I've kind of asked myself whether I should tell you that, or no, it was actually very recent.
Okay.
And harks back to your, a bit like your story at the top of the show.
Right.
And I went to do a charity event up north. I'll not name the place just in case. I don't want to harm anybody. But I went to do this charity event and it was for Heart Stroke Scotland.
Right, I'm already nervous for you. Like I start, what's he done? And
so I get in the whole theme still game. So everybody turns up dressed as still game characters and all that, and they've went a lot of effort. There's no been a great turnout. The woman's a wee bit disappointed, put her heart and soul in. It's cooked loads of stuff and baked loads of stuff and all that. So really trying to G it up and make it work for her and all that. Guy comes up to me, who's the DJ, who's quite a character. One eye, bit of a belly. Pardon me. And he says, so, oh, you're right. So can you take a laugh? So, what? You like a bit of a laugh, like, can you? Well, I hope so. Oh, well, that's good, you know, because you never know what you type. Right, and off he pops, and smashing. So it's this guy. I don't know if he just had a chip on his shoulder a bit, you know, people in the business or what. cut to as the night goes on, this guy's really putting me through my paces, so he's getting me to do everything,
Right.
just pushing the envelope, really testing me. So, it's Kaylee dancing, you're doing a strip to Willow, you're just going to get a glass of wine. Gavin will get back up for this one. So you're like, right, okay. Then karaoke, you name it, just
boy.
everything. Up you get, Gavin, where are you? Although that's not even true. You kind of had that sort of thing going on, but then when he'd go on the mic, he's like, okay, here we go. He was all kind of that all of a sudden, right, all right, here we go. So he just, and I was wringing wet, absolutely wringing
He's exploiting your good nature.
and he just would, and you could see he was getting a wee kick at it, and just trying to get a pint or a drink of water, not back up for something else. Then it was a game, last person on the floor doing different dances, and now it's a sword dance, and now it's this. And I'm like, gee, I can't take much more of this. So I went up and I was on the mic at one point, and before I knew what I'd said, I said, this is, well done to, let's call her Margaret, for putting tonight on, and it's absolutely fantastic, and, good luck to that. But when I said I'd sign up to help out Heart and Stroke Scotland, I didn't know that I was going to get one, right? That was that. So they have a fantastic night. Everybody's happy. And towards the end of the night, they filmed me doing this massive conga line.
Right.
So I'm like, boof, putting everything into that, and it's all filmed. Cut to the next night, we're in Aberdeen, the five of us at Still Game doing a show. And some of the people have come from the other area, not far from Aberdeen. And they're in the audience still dressed up like that. And they put up this clip, unbeknownst to me, doing the conga and all that, and you can hear the DJ going, come on, Gavin, come on, through the clip, shouting at me, and I'm going, do, come on and do the conga. No, we come off after stage, turned out the DJ was dead. What? He died of a heart attack and a stroke right after the gig, and I was like, what?
I shouldn't be laughing, but
he died. I can't remember if it was a heart or a stroke or both, because I went, what? Oh, and I didn't know what to do. And how did he die? We think it was a heart attack. All right. And I've still got the clip on my phone. You can hear him going, come on, Gavin, come on. And you think it's one of the last things he said. So and all this, and they sincerely said to me, we phoned him that night, before he went to bed, and he said it was one of the best nights. He had a fantastic night. So there's that, I suppose. But it's also a message: just don't fuck about with me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'll put a hex on you.
Wow.
So I my regret there was I thought, oh my God, I turned round as well, because the promoter was there, and I remember him going, when I turned and said, look, it's great to, be here for Heart Stroke Scotland, but not to be given one. Little did I know it wasn't me that was
my days.
given one, as it were. So,
that is unreal. The timing, the amount of things that have aligned badly for that is unreal. To find that out the next night as well, not even like a few months down the line.
Because I can't remember if it was the interval or after the show, and as the promoter went, I've got to tell you something. I was like, you're a rascal putting that clip up and all that. And then he said, he's dead. I was like, who's dead? Who are you talking about? Who's dead? Who's that? The DJ. What DJ? The guy for last night. What? He's on the clip. I know. We can't play that clip again. Oh, okay. So
I mean, the finality of the way you're saying he's dead.
He's dead.
It's just
okay. Do. Come on and do the conga.
I mean, it's a beautiful thing that you've said he had the night of his life.
Supposedly.
But I mean, he was pushing it.
He was pushing. He was actually a nice guy, and I think by the end of it, I think he realised. I don't know what he was trying to do. I think he was testing me, but I think by the end he did like me, and he was cool, and he was an okay guy. But Jings,
maybe he had a sense himself subconsciously at the time was nigh, and he was like, I need to get everything I can out of Gav here. I need to live life.
It's like he was living vicariously through me, as it was. As it were. It's like, he can do it. You go on without me. This is my last night on earth.
That is...
Do. Come on and do the conga. But
you'll always associate that guy with that.
Aye,
if
that
there's ever a conga line, you'll be
ever
like...
a conga. And it is a fantastic clip, because it's a wonderful sort of all sorts of people dressed as all sorts of characters going past the camera with him shouting over it. And little did we know, literally.
I mean, we shouldn't laugh, but when they say comedy's tragedy plus time there, I mean, that's... It doesn't get much better than that.
No, I did question whether to tell you that story, because it's so recent, and I did feel bad about it, but at the same time, I think it's what he would have wanted.
Oh, yeah.
He'd want to be remembered.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow.
He'd be here shouting, Gav will tell that story now.
Tell him the other one.
Now you'll do that
I'll tell
one.
you what, he's got another story. What time's it? 2:30? Oh, there's plenty more where that came from, Gav. Do a dance for them.
He'd be honoured. He'd be honoured, I've no doubt.
Bless him. I think it was the Ace of Spades was the name of his disco unit.
Wow.
Old-fashioned disco unit. So, yeah. But wherever you are, my friend, it was a good night, and we raised a lot of money. So, but not quickly enough for you. So yeah.
Okay. We'll leave the memory there to rest in peace. Oh, it's beautiful. Let's move on to our last one then.
Oofed.
And again, we've picked out these 3 topics really for most people because it feels like they're the most insightful in a person's life, but the relationship one's always the most kind of vulnerable and perhaps kind of sometimes the most embarrassing one as well, depending on the stories.
Well, it's quite simple, mine, actually. It's quite a nice... I thought I'd say something nice after going down that darkness. And mine was... I have too many bad relationship stories, or weird ones as well, or stuff I'd get lifted for when I left the building. So, no, mine's it's actually quite simple. I made the mistake I regret, and yet I don't, isn't it? Regrets are weird, aren't they? Because they change through time. And I went on holiday, and I went with my partner then, and we shouldn't have. It was kind of over in a way. And we went to this romantic holiday in Italy, and... It just wasn't. It kind of ended up staying with a friend of hers, and she was a fantastic. She's an actor, musician, a brilliant singer, brilliant musician, very, very talented person. But she ended up a lot of time just falling into doing sessions round the table in the piazza and stuff, which is great at first. She's like, nah, I love her singing. She's got a great voice, you know. And then she would have a shot in the pipes or whistle and stuff like that. Yeah, brilliant. But when somebody's doing that nearly over a fortnight, nearly 3 times a day, you start going, yeah, I've had enough of this, you know. So of course, eventually, and you're hearing the same songs and all that. And I'm crap. I'm not particularly talented as a musician. I can hold a tune, but I don't play anything. So I'm just knocking back wine. So I get completely hammered one night, and I invented an invisible dog, and I was sitting in the piazza, and I just started going, Bob, come here. And people are going, what's he doing? I'm like, that's it, come here, pal, come here. And I'm like, rubbing this invisible dog, and everybody's going, oh, the blue misty hills. I'm like, there you are. Could I have some water, please, for the dog? And everybody kind of get into this.
Yeah.
So then I'd be walking through the piazza the next day, forgot about it, I'd been hammered and thought, oh dear. Walk through, and we Italian guys get the bar, is like, where is Bob? Where is Bob? And I go, and look about, and I go, oh God, there he is. Come on. And people did start putting water out and stuff. And I'd be sitting there with a glass of wine, and everybody was starting to go, where's your dog? Where's Bob? And all that. I'm like, oh God, I've got to keep this up. And I'm like, oh, there he's there. And so people would clap the invisible dog, and it became a thing. And it was brilliant. So much so that when I came back to Scotland, people were writing to me and all that, asking about the dog and stuff. So it was kind of weird. Cut to we went our separate ways.
Yeah.
Realised that it was a mistake, and it just wasn't working. So we split up, and I go, oh, well, that's that. And I kind of regret that holiday. However, the twist in the tail is, a few years down the line, I get this message from my pal Claire. Claire Walk is an actress friend of mine, and Claire gets in touch. I'd thought about getting a dog for years, but I didn't know how practical it was, my job and all that kind of thing. She sends me a picture of this dog and says, I think you'll really, really like this dog. He's really cute. He's right up your street. He's got a bit of character and all that. I go, yeah, he is. He looks great. But you've got to meet a dog, see if you bond and all that kind of thing. And then I look and I see his name. But in that part, I look down, and this dog's called Boaby.
No way.
Right. So for obvious reasons, I don't want a dog called Boaby.
Yeah.
And apart from anything else, especially in this neighbourhood, walking about Kelvin Grove Park late at night, shouting in your Boaby is not a good idea. Excuse me, have you seen my Boaby? Well, if you do, will you give him a clap? I'm like, stop shoving, officer. I can get in the van myself, thank you. So well, I'll meet the dog. And so I meet the dog. We click immediately. Right. I take him out a couple of times, and the woman said, what do you think? You're going to adopt him? I said, yeah, I think I am, actually. And she said, now, can I now tell you something? I'm like, uh-huh. I believe things happen for a reason. Like, right, where are we going with this? I said, the last 4 dogs that I rescued from Spain, because it was a Spanish rescue dog. I said, I called them Jack, Victor, Isa, and Boaby.
No way.
And you chose the dog that was named after you. I was like, wow, okay. So it was kind of meant to be. So I take him, me and my mate John, Claire's partner, go to a pub just up the road there. And we're sitting going, Rusty, Patch. And I was like, do you know what? His name suits him.
Yeah.
Just call him Bob, shorten it to Bob. We'll get away with Bob. But I'd completely forgotten that I'd invented Bob myself like a few years previously, an invisible dog. So I kind of wished him into existence. And the final part, sorry, this is quite long-winded, but the final part of this is just over about a year or so ago. I'd met this girl through festival and stuff, through mutual friends that I'd done a podcast with Lynn Ferguson and stuff. We'd been chatting. And it was her niece. And I'd been out and I got this message saying, I think I've just seen your dog. Right? I was trying to wave to you, and I said, but I think you've got headphones in. I said, oh, I'm so sorry. If that ever happens again, give me a nudge. And, go for a coffee sometime, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Which kind of happened. And it was Bob would see her and run for her and stuff. So much so we're out in the street one day and she's with her mum. And we're walking along and Bob sees her and goes there. And her mum went, no, she's allergic to dogs. Right, like, Jesus, I'm sorry, but we're outside, do you know what I mean? There's no harm in this. Like, no, she's very allergic. Yeah. And, she's asthmatic and this, that, and that. So all her life she's been allergic to dogs. She's not allergic to Bob.
No way.
It's the only dog in her whole life she's not allergic to. So Bob kind of found her, and we've now been together for just about a year and a half now, and we now live together and stuff. So I kind of feel like out of the thing that I kind of regret doing, I created a false dog that became real, who now found my kind of life partner. So,
that is beautiful.
And that is Bob the dog, ladies and gentlemen. So, Bob.
A matchmaker.
It's just sick. It's just lying on the carpet. I thought he might come out. I thought he might react to that and give you a big splash finish. Yeah. But he's no having it. Bob, come here. What's this? Come here. Up. Come on.
Look at this.
Up. Come here. What's this? What's this? Come up. There we go. So that's Bob. There he is.
Well done, Bob. Listen, I can't believe that.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Got me my whole... Destroyed the relationship through an invisible dog, created a real one, and he sorted it out.
That's it.
What a guy.
I feel like that's the most beautiful story that we've probably had so far, because it really is it's a quintessential example of how regret shouldn't be held on to, because the whole one door closes, another opens, and you literally manifested a dog that then came into existence and led you to finding someone you're now
when no one else can understand me. Let's go out in a song, ladies and gentlemen.
That's so good.
So yeah, I do kind of regret, but if I hadn't,
Yeah.
and I think and that's the main thing about regrets, isn't it? That a lot of the time, even the worst things, you learn some from. You take some positive away. So yeah, I took a dog and a lady, another lady, not the one I was with. Whatever's happening in your life, not that I'm bitter. So, yeah.
That's honestly a beautiful story, and as you say, a fine example of how regrets do play a big part in shaping the people we are. So I'm trying to make it sound like I'm having a highbrow conclusion to this episode. But it was, if you live in the past, you die. You can't live in the future. A beautiful tale.
A world between shadow and light, at the very pit of man's fears and at the very summit of his knowledge.
There we go. That's what I should have said. If there's one of those stories that you would like to have removed, although it sounds like you've come to terms with all of them and they've all played a part, but for the sake of the symbology at the end of each episode, we usually allow a guest to be like, that's the one I'll toss that dead flower in the bin. Which one would it be?
It would probably be the dead DJ.
Yeah.
Just because I'd wish him back so we could relive that night all over again. And I wish. Obviously, it's really horrible that the man passed. So that's a shame. For those reasons, I'd like to get rid of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being a guest. I know you've got some stuff coming up.
Yeah, what am I doing? I'm doing my solo show, Look Who Isn't It, a Boaby Unwrapped. So I've still got some of them. I can't remember where I'll be at that point. But I'm doing that. And then we're taking time out to do Casablanca again at the Fringe. We're at Gilly Doo from round about the 28th, 29th of August through to roughly about the 10th. And then we'll be through in Glasgow at the Orden Moor where Casablanca first ever started, which we basically do Casablanca. It's the movie put on a stage version between three actors doing the whole film within about 50 minutes. So it's great. We've had great reviews over the years, and we first did it about 15 years ago, but we love it. So doing that in my own show, which I think we're going as far as Orkney and as near as Grangemouth.
Beautiful.
So yeah.
No, check it out. I, for my sins, haven't seen Casablanca, but have also worked with Claire in the past on a production, and I've said I will definitely see it. I've heard so many brilliant things about it over the last 10-15 years since it first was produced. So
we're very lucky. It's Morag Fullerton who wrote and directs it. She's done a fantastic job. It's an honour. That's why we keep coming back to it every now and again. It's certainly no for the money. So we do it for the love, don't we? We do it for the love. That's why we're troubadours.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your dead flowers with me today. All the best with the tour, with the Fringe. Our best wishes to the DJ's friends and loved ones as well.
I won't be coming back up that area anytime soon. I don't think I'm doing the solo tour there. If I am, it's probably getting cancelled as we speak.
You've been listening to another episode of Stop Watering Dead Flowers. Big thanks, as always, to the Stand Comedy Club, to Sean Stables and Chris Thorburn. We'll catch you next time. You've been listening to the Stop Watering Dead Flowers podcast with me, your host Chris Forbes, in association with the wonderful Stand Comedy Club. Sound mixing and recording by the wonderful Sean Stables. Big shout out, Sean. Woo! Edited by the ever awesome Chris Thorburn. Thank you very much to everyone who's listened. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, share with a friend, all the things that you're supposed to do with podcasts.